Let's do this. Welcome. My name's Xander, and I'm gonna be talking about. For a while now, I've been wanting to start making YouTube videos, but for some reason, it's been really hard for me to do so, and because of the fact that I've been questioning so much about myself and learning so much about myself, because last year has been a shit show. I feel that I have a better understanding of why it is that creating things can be so hard for me sometimes. So I wanted to put this out here on the internet and see if I can help anybody. So let's get started. All right, so resistance is a conflict between two opposing forces. When I hear the word resistance, I think of working out, like resistance training. And basically all that is, if you don't know, is your muscle, the power of your muscle working against an external force. So when we experience resistance to create, it's the same thing. The two forces that are counteracting each other, in my opinion, are creativity, or will to create, and fear. We often compare a lot between ourselves and others. And what I've noticed is that a lot of the times that comparison is extremely subconscious. It's so deeply ingrained that we don't even think about it as comparison. So like one of the biggest ways that I see this being done is social media. And I don't think that social media is inherently bad. I think it has good and bad, but the way that it's used in our current society is definitely, as a whole, unhealthy. I think on both sides, like people underestimate how bad it is, and then people overestimate how bad it is. I think it's like most things, you need an unbiased view. I'm going off on a tangent. What I meant to say is that for a long while, I was like disillusioned with it, and I knew that I didn't like it for some reason, that it only made me feel bad, but I didn't know why. I didn't really think about it. I just deleted it off my phone. I'm talking about Instagram, by the way, because that's really the only social media that I used. I've had Instagram every now and then, and what I found is that even if I go months without using this shit, as soon as I get it on my phone, a man's gotta eat, so hold up. I gotta make a burrito real quick. This video's gonna be too long. I hope you like my singing. I'm sure you guys clicked on this video to watch me order a burrito at Chipotle. Brown rice, so fritas, pinto beans, roasted chili corn salsa, fajita veggies, romaine lettuce, chips, and guacamole. All right. Zen. XAM. Food. Yes, this is how I talk to myself when I'm alone. Sorry. I'm gonna be broke soon. Just something to think about. All right. Ready to submit. I don't remember what I was talking about. Yeah, I've had it like on my phone every now and then, and I find that like even if I've been off for a long time, as soon as I get back there, my brain like gets hijacked by this fucking like dopamine cycle, and I just want to keep scrolling and scrolling, and that's a problem in and of itself for me. If you don't have a problem with it, then I guess enjoy it. But I don't like that. I don't like not being in control of myself. But what that brings, the other thing that brings is that because I'm scrolling so much, I'm seeing all these pictures of other people. And your brain does so many comparisons all the time. And I'm just seeing all these people and making all these comparisons in my head about stuff like, okay, like I'll see a music post, and instead of appreciating this person's skill, this person's art, my brain instantly goes to, you're never going to be as good as them. Or if I think that I could be as good as them, I'll think about the fact that why do so many people follow them and they don't follow me? Pretty much any time that I see different people's art, and I'm not talking about like physical like paintings, but just art in general, like the concept of art, like anytime that I see other people's creations, my brain cannot help. Excuse me? My brain cannot help to compare myself to them. What I've had to realize is that it makes no sense to compare yourself to other people. It's impossible to compare yourself to other people, in the sense that two human beings, you take any two humans that have ever existed, you're never going to find two human beings who had the exact same life experiences. They had the same brain chemistry, they had the same body, anything. Like, you always, no matter what, you have your own incredibly unique experience of life. So to compare yourself to other people without knowing both the disadvantages and the advantages of both of you is ridiculous. Now, me saying it's ridiculous is not going to stop my brain from doing it, and it's not going to stop yours. But that's something to keep in mind, because you need ammo to be able to fight this off. If I'm not comparing myself to people just based off the fact like I'm directly comparing myself, I'm comparing myself to this external, there's like this like list of fucking standards that you need to follow that is like ingrained in our head because of the society that we live in. And it's stuff like, oh, I need to have money to be happy. Like, for my life to have had worth, I need to have made X amount of money or secured X amount of bags. Or love, or like enter anything like recognition, fame, whatever it is, you have this idea in your head of where you should be matching up, what you should be doing, who you should be. We see a lot of people who seem to blow up out of nowhere. Just one day, something that they made goes viral or whatever, and then they get fame, they get recognition, they get monies. But what we don't see from a lot of these people is the process that went into that. We don't see the years that they spent perfecting their craft, the years that they spent in discomfort, the time and energy that they put into this so that it could manifest into success. And when we see these things, we don't think about that. We don't realize that these people didn't just get here out of nowhere. They went through the same things that we're going through, the majority of them. And all of these things just culminate into your expectations. Like I said, your expectations of who you should be, what you should be doing, what you should have accomplished by now. And these expectations, they weigh on you. They weigh on me. When I sit down to make something, I don't think to myself, oh, I am comparing myself, blah, blah, blah. It's much more subtle than that. It's subconscious. But I promise you, I'm not going to promise you shit, but I'm willing to bet money that your brain is doing all these calculations thinking about the fact that you will never match up to the expectations that you've put on yourself. When you create stuff, it can feel very uncomfortable. And I think there's like 3 major reasons behind that. One of them is the fact that there's learning curves. Like when you start off doing something, you're gonna suck and it's gonna feel weird. Like you're gonna feel awkward. You're not gonna feel comfortable doing it. Yeah, so there's a learning curve. Like again, this has to do with, we see results. We don't see the learning curve and all the awkwardness and fumbles that they made having to get there. There's a lot of stuff that you have to learn, stuff that you're not even gonna know you need to know. You have to accept that when you start off doing something, you're gonna be a noob. You're not going to necessarily enjoy the entire process at first. I don't think that, at least for me, what I've experienced is that I feel when I'm truly in flow in creating stuff like music, like videos, I feel alive. But that state, Jesus Christ, that state is not something you're in all the time. And making art requires a lot more than just those moments of flow. It requires all the things that can produce that and that can give it to the world. So you just have to accept that that is part of it. The other thing is that there's just, I'm gonna call this the discomfort zone. Outside of your comfort zone is scary. It's unknown. You don't know what could happen. It's full of alien experiences and things that you're going to have to deal with off the top. To expand your comfort zone, you need to leave it. You have to understand that if you stay where you're at, where you're comfortable, where you know that you're safe, you're not gonna grow. And it's really that simple. All right, this is the other thing that took me a minute to realize. Life is suffering. That's something the Buddha taught. Buddha. To do with the earlobes, you know? There is no path that you can take in life that is going to be devoid of suffering. I know that society loves to convince us that that's not true. We're sold on the fact that there are certain things we can do, certain ways of living. Like if we have enough money, life's going to be perfect. We don't have to worry about anything. Of course, money helps, but no external thing is going to solve, actually nothing at all is going to change the fact that in life there is suffering. I've been at crossroads in my life where I've weighed decisions and tried to think about, well, if I go to college and try to get a job through there, you know, like a normal job, I guess, maybe music related, but if I try to do that, well, I would have the security of having a job, but I would be forced to do something that I don't really feel that passionate about, or I'd be forced to give up dreams that I did have. If I don't go to college, then I'm gonna be able to do those things, but it's going to be a lot harder to start and to really become financially independent and prosper. And it's a trade-off. There's always, between most decisions that you make, there's always going to be a trade-off. So the fact of the matter is that life is suffering. So what do we do with that? Well, I think that what we need to do is find something worth suffering for. Those are pretty much the two drivers behind the fear that fights against creativity. What the fuck do we do now? Well, I have an idea. Notice it. Simple as that. Notice it. Notice when your brain generates thoughts that stem from fear. When you're able to catch yourself before you fall into these like holes where you start giving into these thoughts and like letting them cloud your perception of what reality actually is, if you're able to catch yourself before that happens, it allows you to notice them, to understand them, to see why they're there, but let them go and to keep doing what it is that resonates with you. And notice that I said you have to understand them. I feel that a lot of us, and me in the past, have tried to ignore these thoughts and to push them away. And I understand why that's like the instinct. But the thing is that if you do that, they're in your head. There's nowhere for them to go. You can't push them out of your head. You're just pushing them into a darker place. And those thoughts will build up. And eventually, what's going to happen is that they will fill up in your subconscious. And that's really how you got here in the first place. So what you need to do is when these thoughts arise, you need to recognize them, analyze them, empathize with them. These are parts of you. I don't think that we are our brain or our thoughts, but we do interact. I'm getting metaphysical with this, but my point is that, in a sense, these thoughts are part of you and they're there for a reason. They're not there to harm you, they're there to protect you. So each time that you practice a repetition of this, each time that you catch one of these thoughts and you're able to understand why they're there and yet still let go of them, that muscle is going to get stronger and you're going to get better at recognizing them and not attaching to them, not identifying with them. All right. I think I did a pretty good job. I'm about to edit this and I'm going to see that it was all a bunch of trash. I hope that it did something for you. If nothing else, I hope that you find me funny. Funny or funny looking, whatever works for you, my friend. Yeah. Here's some more videos. And I'm gonna get like 2 comments on this and they're gonna be from my friends, but if you happen to watch this, someone who doesn't know me, please like leave a comment. Like, if there's anything you want to hear me talk about, anything you feel like I might have some kind of knowledge about, I'd be more than happy to make a video on it. I just want this channel to be a place where I can create freely and show people my perspective on things. And I never want to pretend to be the last say on anything. I never want to pretend that I know some kind of universal truth or anything. This is just the things that are on my mind right now and how I'm trying to go about solving them. And this is what's helped me in the past year, because it has been really hard. And I've had to deal with this, really, a lot of this, where I had my identity revolved around the fact that I created things. And then out of nowhere, I found myself not feeling like creating anything. Part of me wanted to, but the other part of me was afraid and would find any way to get out of putting my soul into art. But over the past couple months, I've been learning a lot, and I feel that I'm starting to get a grip on on what mindset to have going forward, and how to address these problems without ignoring them. So I've talked for a really long time, so I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope it's a beautiful one. If you're watching this at night, with like a bright screen on your face, sitting in like the middle of a very dark room, I hope you sleep tight, very tight. Zen the dog is Zen the human, the fun will never end, it's Zen. Thank you. Peace.